Lindsay is way more likable pregnant, not to be confused with actually being likable. Imrul, just from watching you, I'm pretty sure I need to get an STI check and bring on the Paige and Kyle fight.
Thank you, Jesus.
Welcome to Showmance, the only show on the internet doing deep dives on shows with no depth. If any of this sounds interesting to you, like and subscribe. Hey, gang.
Oh, hi.
Yo,
What up?
what up?
Hey.
I was thinking
Ni hao.
about that too.
Yeah. Give me a chow chow, Nat.
Ciao,
Dude, I
ciao.
love
You sound so
Nats.
cute when you do it.
I wonder how many countries hellos you could get through.
Konnichiwa.
Wait, what did you just say? Ni hao? Isn't that hello?
No, I said
Who can
it.
tell?
She said ni hao.
No,
You
I
said
said
konnichiwa.
Oh, so you're right. I'm not fluent in what I'm
Once
Oh, because they all
again.
look the same to you, I guess.
It's boring.
It's been a long week, Natalie. I've had jury duty.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right.
Oh, wait, how was it? Did you send someone to jail for life?
Probably shouldn't be talking about it on a national podcast.
Well, if you don't want to do it,
Let
talk
me
more.
tell you about this trial. No, I have to go back to see if they're going to pick me, but I'm really not the one they should be picking.
Yeah, I think you just got to cry when you get up there.
I was just going to say there's a very real chance I could just have a meltdown in the juror box. And with my luck, at which this would absolutely happen, I would be who's the foreman of the jury, like the spokesperson.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That would be me.
Juror number one.
Whatever. I would be the spokesperson for,
Yeah.
Corky Goes to Washington.
That
Anyway,
would be fun.
thank God for Summer House. This show's
Fun.
like the heroin for me right now.
It's just fun. It's nice and fun. I imagine
yeah.
next week it sounds like it's going to get back to its old argumentative tactics.
Yeah.
But for now,
Oh, I'm welcoming the calm before the storm.
yeah, for now,
Yeah.
pretty fun.
I think it's interesting that we just were like having this talk about if the show were to just leave a house and go back to the city. And like I hadn't seen them in the city in so long. Like they used to pop in and out
Yeah.
often. And I don't think I've seen it. I feel like it's been forever since you've seen them in their day to day. And like, oh my God, would I watch this show even harder than I do? There'd be so much more happening. There'd be so much more drama to be had while they're out living their lives, like meeting up at places in public, getting in public arguments. Those are my favorite.
I feel like we really are onto something for creating another
Yeah.
show with the characters that we've grown to love and then usher in new people. Although I will say this, Summer House didn't start as a bunch of 20-year-olds in the house. It was always a mix of 20-somethings and 30-somethings. And I do want to keep it that way because first of all, it's not realistic that a bunch of 25-year-olds have a $10 million
afford
house.
it. Yeah, yeah.
And it also just brings it down a notch for me. Like it's just not as enjoyable.
No, yeah. I don't want to see a bunch of 12-year-olds running around. I really think it's the pregnancy and the broken engagement and like all like the alcoholism and like I think it's just like the
a lot of
phases
heavy
of
stuff.
a lot of
Not the alcoholism, the sober.
Oh right,
guy.
the
The alcoholism,
that you
that,
can't
like-
handle your alcoholism.
Yeah, buddy.
Come on.
It's a summer
Kidding.
house for crying
You
out
know
loud.
what it is? Because if Shane were in the house,
Yeah.
okay, like there are people who are sober who
Oh, you never even know the
Yeah,
difference.
that's a good
they
point.
work in nightlife. They're bartenders.
Yeah.
They're whatever, and they're just super solid in their sobriety. And
Yeah.
I don't think this has anything to do with Carl's sobriety. Like, oh, he's not solid in it. Carl's not solid in anything. Carl
Right,
has been trying
yeah.
to find a career for 18 years.
Yeah.
Carl is trying to settle into his sobriety forever. It has nothing to do with the sobriety. The sobriety could be anything. It's like
Yeah.
I always say this: how someone does one thing is how they do everything.
Yeah.
And that's just Carl's thing is constantly like, I'm just trying to heal. I'm just trying to deal with this thing. And it was my parents' divorce. He's still healing from his parents' divorce. And I get that it happened when he was an adult, but he's been on the show for 9 years and they've been divorced
Yeah.
for many a year.
Yeah.
So let me throw this at you.
Please.
Take away the cameras, go back to real life. Let's say we were all fortunate enough to have a summer house every year, starting when we were in our late 20s, early 30s, whatever, right? With a group of friends. Fast forward 30 years, right? And we're all in our 50s and 60s, and we're still going to the summer house.
Yeah.
Things have changed. There might be some have kids come and gone along the way, maybe some grandkids now.
Wait, they're coming?
What?
The kids are coming?
Or maybe they don't. I'm just giving you an example. I'm painting a
He's
picture.
setting the stage.
Setting a stage,
I know,
right?
I just wanted to confirm.
I mean, listen,
Confirm
I'm with
the-
you.
the
Like,
deeds.
I'm no kids. That's kind of cool. That's if you had heard that, like, oh, if you heard someone's parents like, oh no, we get a summer house in the wherever, and we've been going there for 35 years with our best friends and blah 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 blah, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's cool, right? We would all be like, dang, that's really neat. Oh, what an experience. We wish we could have an experience like that. And most of us out there, except for one, you know who you are, would enjoy that experience too. So I think that like,
I just got on. Okay.
yeah, I think, do we need to split them up? Like, can we keep going for 30 years? Can we watch these people
Totally different.
enjoy this house in this vacation for that
This
long?
is what I'm saying, though. Yes, I'm here for them to evolve, but then it just has to be acknowledged as to like,
I think they're starting to though. Like
Okay,
when
great.
Paige did an interview where she was like at the party when Bailey was like sliding down the thing and being
Yes.
20. Everyone was like, oh, I remember being 20. Like I think we talked about it last week, where they're starting to be like, yeah, that's how old we were when we came here, and now we're old and we don't like.
I'm totally here for that. I could do that. Natalie seems like she couldn't, though.
No, like they can't. I would rather them just then not bring any new children in, because right now it's the kids, it's the presence of the two girls. And I know that you don't think this about Bailey, but I think that she looks 16 years old. So I cannot.
Oh, you
I'm
think
just-
Bailey and Lexi look 16?
Bailey or
No,
Lexi?
Bailey is a little bit different. I like Bailey because she's almost just sort of like someone's like weirdo kid sister that they brought, and
Yeah.
just
Totally, she
kind of
seems
like
like the
sucking helium
babysitter
out of the
that's like-
balloons and
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
yeah, like she doesn't seem like, but
I think
Lexi is just too like
I think-
you know, like there's just something that's making it like, oh wait, what? It's heightening my senses to the oldies, and maybe it's my own youth.
No,
my own youth flying away. That it.
I think it makes sense, but you got to remember, like, what you're saying has to be accurate, because when Paige joined the cast and Sarah joined the cast, they were both younger. I think, didn't Sarah come at like 24, 25 and wasn't
Sure,
Paige
but
25?
like the guys were not like they weren't in their 40s.
No, but I'm
Like
saying
the
like
oldest old was not the oldest old now. So
Okay.
it's like in the next 5 years, like they'll be in their late 40s, and then are we still bringing in 25-year-olds? And then it just
Yeah.
You're oh, sorry. Okay, I misunderstood you. I thought you meant because I'm agreeing with you that she does, like, you're saying, okay, she looks young and that's what it is. And I'm saying, like, actually, though, she's older than other castmates that have come
Yeah.
in. But you never looked at Paige and thought, oh my God, she reminds me of a child. Why is she here?
Oh no, she
so
just
there-
wasn't that kind of person. She doesn't exude. She wasn't fun buns.
And
you know,
even-
she was a denim set.
This is my point, though. Like, she was a denim set.
Yeah.
Even Sierra is very mature for her age. She
Yeah.
also just was working in the ICU during COVID as
Exactly.
a nurse. Like,
Yeah.
that's a lot to take on. So you're
Yeah.
not coming in as like just like a bubbly whatever.
Yes.
Or chances are you're not. And so I guess my point is, it's not necessarily the age as much as it is the person, because she could be 30 and is reading as 16 to you, and that's what's getting under your skin.
Yeah, it's just that no one was ever this old while the young people were coming in. They were like in their early mid 30s, and now they're in their
Which
early
exacerbates
mid
it for
40s.
sure.
And like, so yeah,
It's always
it
been
can't
roughly a
continue
10-year
on.
gap. You had your mid-20s and your oldies were mid-30s.
Yeah.
Now Kyle's 45 or
I
whatever.
think
like
he's
now
like
there it's 10
43 or
years.
something, but still, like, yeah.
Okay, so he was 33. That's old. Like
Yeah.
when you're 22 and 23, like, well, who's that guy so old?
Yeah.
And then when you turn 43, you're like, oh, that's not that. I'm not that old. No, that's not even that bad. No, it's totally cool. And then you turn older than 43 and it just gets worse. But so like if there was like a window where like, cool, you can bring new people. Obviously you can meet new people in your life. You want to go on vacation or bring them to the house, whatever. But if like, okay, cool, it's like it's a 10 or 12 gap swing, like range or whatever, floating range. Because yeah, like eventually they are going to be 50. If this show goes another 10 seasons,
Yeah.
then they're in their early 50s, and Lexi now at that point, a Lexi of the future is highly inappropriate.
Yeah.
I mean, for TV, not
Yeah.
for some people, but not for Thomas Rabbit now.
I think there's just a few. There's a 2 or 3 that need to move on with their lives after this, or move into a show that's just back in Manhattan, and it's just their life. It's almost like it's a Housewives, but just of Friends. I still think Friday night dinners would be great. You go to work with them all throughout the week, and then they all meet up on Friday and spend all that time like catching up and arguing and whatever. Like I'm sure they've gone to other events during the week, like a DJ set, whatever. This is above our pay grade.
Yeah. Okay, top of the pops, kids. I would just like to say that I think they have the best themed parties. Don't you think they have great themes? I feel like
I
they
do
always
think
pick
they
stuff
have
that
great
I've
themes.
never.
Definitely, 100% agree with that. This one, like, that was fine. It was cool. But like, the boys are never winning that party ever. Hot girls, 100% of the time, always winning that. And the hot girls had the booze. Like, what? I'm surprised there was any chips for the dudes. Those were the 5 dudes that were in the house. Were the 5 chips?
Yeah.
Like, they gotta just work a little smarter next time around.
There's no one on earth that smart. So there's definitely not 6 dudes that smart that can come together for a summer house. I don't know. I think it was fun, like cool, cute, but like,
you don't think it was a real vote? The guys never stood a chance because this deck was stacked against them.
Yes, I
I feel
mean,
like Jesse probably could convince Fun Buns to vote against her own interests.
I think so too. I think so too.
It's another
Cool.
reason you can't have these littles in there.
yeah, right.
They're too impressionable.
Yeah, too much of a swing vote.
I need to know.
Nat said this last week, and I have thought this, but I've never said it. At this point, I don't even care if Carl's gay, even though I do believe in my heart that he is. I just feel like I would like him so much better
Oh, yeah.
if he were, because I feel like
It would relax so many things.
I guess beehole.
Ah.
Listen, Linda, speaking of beeholes, can we back up a little bit?
Oh, sure.
Who walks in on anybody taking a deuce?
And then being told that and still
Yeah,
staying
like,
there and finishing
hey,
their
not-
story.
Yeah, I'm taking a cool. Hey, man. So we talked, and I think it's gonna be a cool. Yeah, cool. Still taking a. Can you please?
I was waiting for Jesse to be like, okay, great, I'll
No,
be up. But
yeah,
he does. He goes,
no.
really, man?
That's great. That's so great.
No, that's someone who grew up in a
Romance
very
continues.
like comfortable family environment.
yeah. All right. Commune.
Somebody who
that
has a
didn't
sock
have a toilet.
Bin or a
Yeah.
sock basket.
That's
a
true.
callback to Love Is Bland.
Yeah, that was too much.
Yeah, no, that was too much
much,
for me
too
also.
much.
So
Too
Bailey's
much.
still here.
Well, that's when that guy's like, oh, she's been scrubbed out. I feel like they scrubbed her out as much as possible, but she probably was just in too much that they had to
Oh.
keep some of the scenes. But she's not interviewed ever.
But also,
clearly,
when
right?
did she back? Like, when did all that go down? Like, how? What?
I mean, it seems like it.
Lady upstairs finally kicked the bucket.
Oh my God.
What?
She's my only friend in this whole building. besides
friend. She
Brenda.
tried to steal the carpet once.
Well, she was just taking out the trash for us.
Okay, that lady.
No, she will come in here. If I leave the door unlocked, she will think she's going to her floor. She does it like once a week.
When we put these things in,
Oh, yeah, we put the floors in.
the floors in, we had, and like, yeah, sure, it was trash, but like, they ripped out all the carpet and they had it in rolls, right? And I was in the back and I've come out and she's in our apartment, like scooping up these rolls.
I
like
love
this
her.
82-year-old lady. And I'm like,
Listen,
what are
she's
you
from the
doing?
war,
She's
you know?
like, I take
Like,
these.
you
I
don't
take
waste a
these. I'm
whole
like, you
Thank you for taking these.
dude, whatever.
It
She
would've
tries
been
to wiggle
hilarious
the
if she
thing.
would have, because it's not like she's gonna rip. She's 82 years old. She's not gonna rip out her own carpet. She probably would just laid it over hers because she's been here longer than we have. So she probably was like, "Oh, their carpet's clearly younger."
Maybe
than
she has a
mine."
son
Dude,
that
she's
she's
been
like,
here
got
so
no
long.
carpet. Come and install.
She's been here so long. She just has stone floor up there. That's
Concrete
how long-
slab.
Yeah, exactly. Not even concrete. They didn't mix concrete back then.
I feel like our first real scene is Lindsay and Paige, right? Shopping for the maternity clothes. Like,
Well,
nothing
we
really
missed
happens.
the whole party.
But nothing really happens at the party, does it?
I mean, I think that like, well, one thing I'm curious about. Do you guys think that Sienna really wants to live on a farm?
Yeah, I think she loves her life in New York, but I think when stuff gets hard And she's just like, what am I doing all of this for? And I still haven't made that much money. And like, I'm just hustling so much. And granted, she's really young, but you get burnt out, especially when you're in cities like New York, Chicago, LA, whatever. I think she's like, I just want to live on a farm.
Have some animals, maybe do honey like with a beekeeper type of
Yeah.
dude in Charleston.
No, her and
Oh,
Craig are not
okay.
getting together.
I'm sure they're not. I'm sure they just left that in the edit for no reason.
Oh my
Dare you.
God.
That's sacrilegious.
She would
I
never.
did
She
that.
would never. Don't talk about our Sierra
Listen,
like that.
She would never do that. And
I
also,
don't
I feel like
disagree,
Sierra's
but
like grossed out by Craig.
all
Like, she
these-
doesn't seem like she would ever entertain Craig.
Agreed. And I don't know if
Maybe.
you saw this, but I sent this to you. I guess Paige had liked this. I'm so bummed to be single. How will I ever find another guy who brings absolutely nothing to the table? And Paige liked it.
Oh my
Wait,
God.
who said that?
Paige is
Who said that?
such a savage.
Savage. I'm kind of here for it. I'm so bummed to be single. How will I ever find another guy who brings absolutely nothing to the table? It was just a quote on Instagram and Paige liked it. And I feel like if Paige is liking that, then Sierra's got to be like, yeah, he really just,
Yeah.
you mothered him. You raised him and you were
Listen,
tired of being his mom.
I'm not saying at all that Craig was ever going to be able to keep up with what Paige's life
The
could
DeSorbos?
be. Yeah, she would. Yeah, keeping up with the DeSorbos. But like,
No, be dealing
Craig
with
is
the
the last
DeSorbos.
person that has nothing to offer. I just want to be clear about that. He has many things. She's clearly just like not interested in his things
So-
because like he's a massive business owner. Mike like does things like goes and like checks out the revenue of businesses. Well, you probably do that too. I'm just the only one that has no need for this. But you said that he's doing extremely well.
Sewing
his
Down South
company.
is doing good. I think they either recently or are about to crack 100 million in sales or
for
something. Like
him.
that's insane.
Yeah.
Like, that's insane. So yeah,
Yeah.
good job, Craig. So you had said something a while back, an episode or two ago, about I think we were talking about their breakup and how like Southern Charm is I'm paraphrasing this, but like Southern Charm is editing and presenting Craig in a favorable light because
Yeah.
that's his show, and that when Summer House comes around, it's going to be their responsibility to produce and edit Paige in a favorable
Yeah.
light, right? And that made a lot of sense. Last week, Paige said something about, I think it was like dude's pea brain, or like just some like
Oh, yeah.
derogatory comment
Their little
about
pea
men,
brains.
right? And then this week in the beginning, when West was up there, and I don't know who it was, but they were like a little more to the left, a little more to the left, and they was just like ruining the.
Yeah.
That was when she said the
space.
pea brain thing.
So then last week she said, "I love how much I hate men," or so it was something along those lines. That's 2 weeks in a row. They've POV cam slid in some like man hating, like Paige being a man hater, and it made me be like, Are you guys gonna
Are you
take
guys
care of her?
gonna
Are
do
you
your
gonna
jorbs?
Yeah,
Or
are you
what?
gonna do your jorbs? Are you guys also like, no, fuck her, dude? And this isn't me. It's a podcast, everyone. But it made me think like, are they not going to do that? And are they going to be like, yeah, no, Paige is kind of icy and gnarly, and she was mean to that dude. You know what I
I
mean?
do
God,
think
that'd be
what
weird if they do that.
it
Would
would
it?
be.
Why
But
would
like
it be weird?
It's just inappropriate.
when she likes stuff like that, I don't think she's necessarily thinking like, oh, Craig doesn't bring anything to the table monetarily, or didn't, because obviously they're not together anymore. I think it's more along the lines of, I think for her, Craig was still kind of a child and would pout about things that it's like, just grow up.
Yeah.
I just think maybe he was a little too also sensitive for her, which we've obviously seen. And I think all of those things just got on her nerves, and especially not as she just a tried and true New Yorker. On top of that, it's just the nature of who she is,
Yeah.
whether she lived in Kansas or New York. And I think that those are the things. I don't think it has anything to do with money. I think when she brings something to the table, it's like, you've figured all of this stuff out and planned this amazing vacation, or you didn't become some petulant child in the middle of a conversation. And I wonder if it's cumulative, because yes, he definitely had growth, but I really forgot from their relationship specifically how off some of his moments were.
Yeah.
Like I just didn't remember it. And I think that that's kind of, it was like a building
Yeah.
up inside of her to be like, I'm never like this. I never throw a tantrum in front of your friends. I never, like, I have my shit together. I can walk across the street without being like, is this right? Is this the crosswalk? Is this? And of course, that's not what he
Yeah.
does. I'm just making a joke, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I feel like he's the type that sends her like every rendition of Pillow that he's like approving and going, what should I do? What do you think? And she's like, I've literally seen 17 pillows today. None of them are great. I wouldn't have a single one of them in my place just because it's a different vibe, you know,
yeah.
like not good or bad, just way different. I feel like it's probably questions like that all the time. And probably his biggest schedule is probably having to go to all those, like, show up to those like home events, you know,
Totally.
and whatever. And she's probably just like, maybe kind of bored by like home show events isn't really what she saw as her like, oh, I'll meet you in San Antone at the whatever trunk show.
But at the same time, that's happening. Like she's gone a 60 city tour of her podcast.
Yeah.
You know, so
She's-
like,
but I don't
that's like
think-
cool girl stuff.
But
you
I
know?
don't think Paige was ever calling Craig to be as much of a consigliere.
Yeah. What do
You
you
know
think about
what I
this
mean?
joke?
no, 100%. But I'm saying like, while Craig is so needy and like childish and young and not growing up and all these things, and needing to go to, you know, the Home Goods show, and he's like, hey, you meet me in Cincinnati for the Home Goods show? And she's like, no, definitely I'm not. Also, I'll be in fucking Boston doing my fucking podcast, like I
Yeah.
told you for the 14th time.
Yeah.
And so again, like they're both driven, but they're just Craig's driving to the farm, Paige is driving to the studio.
And Craig is far more emotional and moody than Paige is.
Yeah.
Like he's just a moody dude.
100%.
Yeah.
I would argue that Paige is, I mean, I guess we've seen it. She's a little emotional, but like,
Oh, she keeps
10%.
those emotions tight to her vest.
yeah.
Close to the vest.
Yeah.
But anyway, okay, back to the house.
Okay,
The House of Summer.
When Amanda asked Sierra if she thinks she's already met her person, and she says she doesn't know, and she says like, "Oh, I need to go see my psychic."
I fell more in love with her in that
Well, I
moment.
was just gonna say like Courtney's the only person I know that like no, you don't go a lot, but you go consistently year after year.
Yeah, I'll see one like once a year.
Yeah, and I feel like you always leave like really happy with like the product you've just procured, and like I'm just curious like how would people have a good psychic visit? like what are you supposed to do with that information? What are the questions that like you would recommend like people ask psychics? I feel like people go in and be like, am I going to get this year? And like just want to know like these sort of hard answers. And I think you must be doing something different with them for it to have been as valuable to you as it has been that other people. But the people would probably like to know, or maybe it's me.
Oh yeah, sure.
And you're just
Sure,
here.
the people. So Natalie, to answer your question, I think the way that you have a good reading, whether you're seeing a psychic, a medium, an astrologer, a tarot card reader, is you have to go in with questions, or even if you're not going to say what the question is to the reader, because sometimes they don't want to know, and sometimes they do. Everybody does it differently. It's that energy, right? Of like, okay, I'm here to figure out what's going on with my work life, or like I've been having a very contentious relationship with my family over the past few years. How is this going to shake out? So that's really important. It's also incredibly important not to be gullible, but to go with an open mind and an open heart. Because if you're, and this people are going to think I'm going to get hammered for this, but I don't care because I'm a hippie and own it and you're free. If you block the energy, it's not that the other person will have a harder time like giving you a reading, but even if they don't, you're going to have a harder time receiving it. So you just have to be open to have like that flow of energy. But also I think this is even on par with how important being open is. You have to not, you know how something could happen to you and it's everything you wanted, but it doesn't happen at all how you want it to happen. because they say like, like the universe or God dreams bigger
Yeah.
for you than you can dream for yourself. So you can't get so myopic about what they tell you that you're going to ruin your entire life. Like this is going to happen to you in November. Okay, maybe it's next November, or maybe it's not November at all. Like just take everything with a grain of salt, write notes, and like just keep these things pinned in the back of your head so that you can keep living your life and then recognize, like someone can say to
Yeah.
you, you're going to meet a guy in November that's going to change your life. And if you're single, the first thing you think is, oh my God, I'm meeting my person.
Yeah.
And it could just be someone that you start a business with.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that's all of it.
My grandma used to go to a psychic too. Often she had a psychic in San Diego that she would go to. They used to go to Mexico a lot, so she would swing by and see the psychic on the way out. And she went and saw her right around, let's just say sometime in the 1970s. And
I know where this story is going.
She went to her psychic, and the psychic said, one of your daughters is pregnant. My mom, I don't even think my mom knew that she was pregnant. And she's like, she's pregnant with the reincarnation of a miscarriage that you had however many 2 years, X amount of time ago. No one but my grandma and her husband at the time. Like
Yeah, 'cause
nobody.
like back then, you wouldn't talk about that.
No,
kind of
no,
stuff.
exactly. Nobody knew about the miscarriage. And no one knew that my mom was pregnant. And the psychic was like, this child is the reincarnation of the child that you lost. And that is why my grandma and I were so close.
And that is why you would have slept with Shep, so that
Now you know, Joanne.
you could have
Now
hooked
you
your
know.
grandma up to be on Southern Charm.
But yeah, true story.
Anyway,
Real quick before
Yes,
we
love.
bail on the party, because nothing really happened at the party, and that's kind of my gripe, is I feel like the 4th of July party especially used to be a 3-act party, at least.
yes.
Oh yeah,
You
it
know,
was
it
just
was
like
5
that's why
minutes.
when you said like it's such a great theme, I was like, I can't even remember what the theme was. Like I remember the voting thing, but like it seemed very half-assed in comparison to all their
Yeah,
other
dude,
parties because
they
they're
had-
usually their costumes are so
Sierra's costumes
Yes,
are
Sierra's
always
costumes are
so
always
So
insane.
when
crazy,
she was,
dude.
who was that one?
Foxy
Bam!
Brown?
No, Karma Brown.
Karma Brown.
Karma Brown.
Dude,
I dream of Karma Brown.
Yeah.
She looked so fucking fly.
So
Yeah.
crazy. But yeah,
agreed.
nothing. Yeah, it just.
Hold on now, Linda. I need to fix your hair.
Oh, I'm like, oh God.
Okay, this is what I think though with the youngins. I had this moment when they were at the house, and I don't think this is just because I've gotten 9 years older as I've watched this show, because I am rewatching old episodes. Let's not forget. This party just seemed to skew so young. Like I felt like I was at a college
Yeah.
party
Yeah.
and not an adult party in the Hamptons. I think that's why the party wasn't as good, because we didn't have,
That's probably true.
like fried 30 somethings from the city that are just like, I've worked a 90-hour work week.
Yeah.
Like, let me shotgun every lover boy here.
Yeah.
It just had the party didn't have a good vibe. The party wasn't
No,
partying.
You're right. You're right. When you're right, you're right.
It happened.
Interesting. I will say one of my favorite parts of this show, though, happens at their parties when Amanda takes the microphone and straight up boots everybody out in
She's
the
so nice
nicest way
about it.
possible. Yeah. But I love it. I love that they're like, cool, thanks for coming. We're done.
I'm
Go
pretty
home
sure,
now.
because there's like a table and a tent as you come through the gate, because production has to like get everyone to sign and whatever. And I'm pretty sure when you get there, they say, right? Don't you think they say like, hey,
Definitely.
just so you know, like this is
Yeah.
closing down at
I
6.
think it's less Amanda and more like we're at our 12-hour.
Yeah, no,
mark. We
it's
gotta wrap
definitely
out.
a
or like we have neighbors
production
and we
thing.
can't get sued.
I wouldn't be surprised if it is an Amanda and Kyle thing and a Paige thing and all those people thing, like, no, we have parties. We have a good time. The party starts here and it ends here. Everybody knows that. Cameras are not. And production's like, cool. We don't want overtime. Like that.
Yep.
I wouldn't be surprised if Amanda's like, oh, no, that's an Amanda rule. And it
Also-
happens at home, too. Like the party ends at this time and I tell everyone to leave. Thanks
Amanda,
for coming.
I see you.
Yeah,
That's a good move.
Love it. I love it so much. I wanna like hire Amanda to cut. Well, we don't really have parties, but if we did have parties, I would.
Oh, all those parties
Yeah.
that like I could never wrap up on time.
Yeah,
There
totally.
Right, we need
Parties.
Amanda to come wrap up this fucking podcast.
We do need that.
Their parties
My
are on
idea didn't work out too well.
Saturdays. their parties are on Saturdays and then they go out to a club Saturday night.
Yeah.
So I also think that there's part of that, like, oh, we got to get into the second part of the
Yeah.
day. Anyway.
Yeah.
Can we get into Lindsay and Paige shopping? Just because this is where I do feel, and I thought this when I was watching the coming attractions for the whole season, when Lindsay's sitting there pumping and Paige is saying everything like, post breakup. And all of a sudden Paige goes, "Your nipples are insane." And Lindsay just goes, "I know." And I thought to myself, oh, that's cute. Like, that's Lindsay being not activated or coming at
it was
someone.
that look on her face in that promo. We haven't even seen the real one yet.
Yes.
We've just seen the promo for it a million times.
Yeah.
I've never seen Lindsay's face look like that.
Same.
Her voice sound like that.
Same.
Clearly, I know she just had a baby, so there's physical changes in there, but like, just the whole vibe of her was just like she exhaled for once in her.
I'm so glad you caught that, because I
Yeah.
must have rewound it and watched it 3 different times.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh my God, that girl I would be friends with. That girl I would want to have a marg with. It's when she is not postpartum that I think, or even prepartum.
Yeah, no, even right now, like, I want to be like, that's not, you look like you have a beer belly right now. You
Oh
don't
my
have
God,
like a
I
real
know.
bump. Like,
It's no good.
she's really wants to show it off, like her belly is like her visual display of the checked box.
Yes.
And I think Lindsay's going to be a spectacular mom. Like, I
Same.
really do think, because she's hardcore about everything. So she's going to put everything into this. Right now, she still gets to also use it as marketing, but that doesn't mean she's also not going to be a great mom. Like,
Totally.
these two things can both exist. So I'm enjoying watching Lindsay kind of simmer down, but also Lindsay's going to Lindsay this pregnancy until the very last second that she'll probably do it for the kid's whole life.
Yeah.
But I don't, this has just softened her just enough to where, like, I'm not looking at her and like wanting to fly across the room and strangle her.
Same.
Like, and that's not happened in 9 years. So.
Yeah, that's why that's not nothing. So
Yeah.
she's far more likable. Not on this grand scheme of likable. She's still not likable.
I have said before that Lindsay's the only one I haven't switched on yet. But I was like, I remember saying that recently, and I'm like, I remember though, I do remember feeling bad for her once, but I couldn't remember why or when that was. And I remembered that, I forgot that Lindsay's mom hates her too. And has since she was 2 years old,
that's
which
right.
says a lot about Lindsay. I'm kidding. But
No.
I was like, oh, right. That's when that sucks that you have a,
This is my exact note. Lindsay is definitely more likable pregnant because, 1, she's never drunk or activated, and 2, she's getting this major thing that she's always wanted in her life, and I'm fully in support of that, because now I truly understand why she needs someone to fight to the death for her, and it's because she experienced one of the worst traumas anyone can ever have, which is their mom completely rejecting them. So now she makes people swim through like the moat with alligators and snipers overlooking you, because it's like, and then you get to the gate.
Because she's from Florida.
Because she's from Florida.
There's that.
But because it's like the one person that's just supposed to love you no matter what, just doesn't give a shit about her. And it's not personal to Lindsay. It's because her
No.
mom's got her own issues.
It could never be.
Of
like
course
with a
not.
mother and daughter, it could never be personal.
ever. But I think that this is such a great moment for her to be able to like heal that, because that's why she makes people prove their loyalty to her in such a gnarly way. Because how could you ever really trust if your mom was like, I don't even know you, bitch?
Yeah.
Like, there was a scene, they flashed back to it, where she's like, hey mom, how are you? The phone works both ways. Could you imagine if you had to beg for your mom to call you? My mom called me on the way into filming tonight, and I was like, I love you so much. I'm so sorry. I have to call you tomorrow. I talk to her every day. I could not imagine the trauma of that.
Well, when she says the phone works both ways, I assume that her mom just is one of those moms that right off the bat goes, oh, look who it is. You never call, you never write. And then that's what I thought she meant by that, being like, no, the phone works both ways. You can call me too,
They hadn't spoken in years. I want to say like
Oh,
2 to 4 years. That was the
got
first
it.
phone call. And so like she sat down in this room in the Hamptons. This is one of the earlier
Yeah.
seasons.
But that is what she meant.
Oh,
Like,
totally. Yeah.
that is
Oh,
what
like
she meant.
just like, oh, it's been 4 years. Yeah, it's been 4 years for you too.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
sorry. I thought you
No,
meant.
but I
yeah.
also didn't know that it had been that long. I thought, but I guess yeah. Either way, it
Totally.
seemed like just one of those things. Like,
And I'm sure that is what she said. Like, oh, so you finally decided to call me. And Lindsay's like, well, you could have also called me. It's only been 4 years.
also you're the mom. That's their job.
Right.
What else are you doing? That's
Lindsay is always the child.
yeah.
Like, you should give a shit and want to
Yeah.
call them and whatever. Like, she's not that unlikable that the mom's like, I just got to wash my hands of you. You're too toxic.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy for her, even though I think she's nuts. So
Yeah, and it totally does leave that opening for Paige and her to actually, for the first time ever, like not have any arguments, because the only thing that Lindsay would ever argue with Paige over really was just like a fight over attention and a fight over dudes and like the attentions that dudes were giving who and what and or who was the favorite in the house that week. Like this whole thing is going to take all of that BS off of Lindsay's plate, and she's just not going to have that. There's nothing to fight about anymore. Like she's even probably in her mind being like looking down on everyone now, being like, fools.
but do you know what I think the bummer is?
She won't say it. You know?
No. I
might.
think
She might.
She might.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, seriously. I don't feel like we are jinxing the out of our relationship with
With
Lindsay
Lindsay?
this season. Yeah, like let's just be happy for what we've been given and hope for more.
I unfortunately think though that Lindsay is one of those people. She's like, you know, those flowers that bloom once every 4 years or like once every decade. And
Yeah.
when they do, everyone's just, you're so gorgeous. And then it closes up and then you got to wait another 10 years to see it again.
Yeah.
I just don't think this lovely wave that Lindsay's riding right now, I just don't think she's going to, once she pops that kid out and she's done breastfeeding, Lindsay's going to be doing Lindsay again,
Yeah.
in my humble opinion.
Yeah. But maybe it'll be on Roni.
One could hope.
Can we just real quick rewind to the hot dogs and how Paige was like, when they said it, Dave was like,
I'm gonna
that's
barf.
diabolical. Okay.
Yeah.
This
Paige
is why I
is
love
like,
Paige.
Yeah,
I
so
know
her.
that there's so many people out there that are like still bent on Paige, but I just everything she says is a banger.
That's
Like
very funny.
everything she says is hilarious
Yep.
to me.
But also, side note, I got a lot of side notes on this episode. I developed a TV show once, a long time ago, that was about like a dunk tank premise. And we were about to take it out. And I'm not going to tell you the story because everyone, I'm assuming, watching this has the internet and you can search it yourself. But the history of dunk tanks
Oh,
is not,
It's not
good.
good.
It's not a good one. And needless to say, that show never went out for the old pitchy poo. But I'm so surprised that not more people know about that and that so many dunk tank things get done because it's crazy. Also, the amount of emotion Sierra shoved that plunger to Dunk West
I'm
was
okay
a
with that.
lot.
No, it was great, and I think it needed to happen. Like I would have never thought, like, oh, I suggest doing this, but like it was offered to her, and she didn't. She took it with gusto.
Yeah.
It was like her own personal break room.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you smash the
Yeah.
TVs
And when
stuff.
do you ever get to have the person that you want in your break room
That you
I
can
always,
smash?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always think about break rooms because when I get pissed, I do throw shit, and I'm very like, I want to slam everything. Like there is something really invigorating about it.
If
But
a
like,
keyboard could talk right now, the keyboard's in the other room and on the edit desk going like, yeah, I got something to say about this. Poor keyboard.
Where's HR? I got to
Yes,
file a
yes,
claim.
okay.
but I always just wonder, like, do people really get like anything out of, like, if I have to drive to a place and pay money to do it, like, even if it just takes like 20 minutes to get there, like that rage needs to come out right this moment, not driving to a place and signing a waiver and like, being
Delaying
told,
your
like,
rage
telling
because
me
of
the
the waiver.
rules. Yeah, they're gonna get punched.
It's like
There's so many
it's-
rules about
You got to put on the
it.
helmet, the
Yeah.
protective goggles.
It's
Kind of
like a-
sucks the cool right out of you.
Yeah.
It's like the 10-day waiting period to get a gun in California.
Does
It
not
maybe a
work
good
for
thing.
me.
Yeah, it works. I hope that Wes, because it's clear that Sierra still has like so many feelings for this dude. And I
In
hope
this episode, was it like,
I
It
think
seemed
so.
to be going a little bit the volume down on it. No,
I don't
or like maybe they
think
shouldn't
so.
focus on it, and that's good
Yeah.
enough for me.
But I hope he doesn't
I'm
take
tired
advantage
watching
of that.
this.
I gotta like a little like, is he going to take advantage of that to get back, to
Yeah, he
like
probably
be the cool guy
he's gonna
again?
try.
He probably
That
will, but
sucks.
at this point, it truly is on her.
Yeah.
Like after everything, because like all of us have these experiences or have had them throughout our life where like someone does this and whatever. Like none of us have like the tape to go back and watch it over and over. None of us have the articles to go back and read. None of us have the reunion shows to go back and watch. Like she's got all of that at her fingertips. So if she slips back into old ways with him, I won't like, I'm not gonna be mad at her, but like it will be physically impossible for me to have anywhere near the level of sympathy I've had for her in this past. So and I know that my sympathy really means a lot to you, Sarah, and I know you're gonna live your life via that. You're not. Which is the right thing to do. So, but if she does, it's.
I believe in her. I believe she can shake it off. And I also have deep empathy for her because I know I'm very similar to Sierra in this respect. If someone just got their hooks in me against my better judgment, and I know that there's a camera on me, and I know he's made a fool of me, or I don't think he's made a fool of her. I think we all can agree that he's the one who looks like the fool.
No,
but you feel like he's made a fool of you, regardless if it's true or not. I could see myself being because they work together. So at some cool event and you're having drinks and whatever. And and if that person is like, they kiss you and the world stops spinning, and I do think they had that friend banter. They're so comfortable with one another. He makes her laugh. Oh, sorry. I had something that I saw in one of the old episodes that I have to bring up about West. I could see myself being drunk and being like, if he kissed me, I would just be like, okay, fine, I'll kiss you back. I could see how she could make that mistake.
Sure.
I don't think she should, and I don't think she will. I'm just saying, like, I could see how she could mess up.
Yeah. I could definitely see how she could mess up. I think I'm speaking to it and like because this is a TV show and like all we're left is like what they show us and then my rabbit holing, of course, is included in that. To let us, the viewers, continue to watch that happen. Like there's just like there's a large jug, there's a 44-ouncer from 7-Eleven of sympathy that you start off with, and like by the end, like it's just gonna
you're right.
dwindle, and like I don't think she wants that, and she shouldn't do anything because of that. I want her to live her life. Otherwise, we complain. You're not really living your life. But what I want from you, Sierra, so many things. Okay.
No, but he sucks and she shouldn't hook up with him. And that's really the beginning and end of it.
Yeah.
But this is, so last week, I know Mike was very scared to speak because we just kept railing on West and how annoyed we were.
Yeah.
And I got the perfect example from one of these old shows and this is why we all want to grill your balls every week, dude. Because not only was he genuinely trying to date her, like he was actively taking her out on dates. When they were in the car, him and Jesse Solomon, like they would talk about all this stuff and whatever. But he was the definition of charm. And as the kids say, Riz. Like it was so earnest and we all fell in love with him. So there's this moment at one of the first episodes of last season where they're going around the table and all the new people are saying something about themselves that is just like an interesting fact. And you didn't know this about me. And West goes first and he's like, I have been to all 50 states. And everyone's like, oh my God, that's so cool. How did that happen? And he tells the story and it's connected to his parents and it's like a really sweet story. And then Jesse Solomon is like, I have beat cancer twice and hopefully this year is going to be my 5 years in remission. And everyone is like, oh my God, how did it happen? Like, and it becomes this really deep conversation. And when Jesse's done saying all of it, he leans over to the girls. He's like, oh my God, could you imagine if I went after him? And I was like, so I've been to all 50 states.
West leans over and says that?
West leans over to the girls and he's like, could you imagine if I went after
I was
him?
Just
and
sitting
I was
there instead of here.
And I was like, I've been to all 50 states. Like, what? And it just was like everyone's panties dropped in that moment because it's just, he was so endearing. And I think we all fell for it. And that's why we personally feel aggrieved in this situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that's,
No,
every single person on earth. West has done that to himself. Like,
yeah.
that's not a secret at all.
Yeah.
But it's just why we so mad.
He and I think that listen, this is gonna sound like I'm just so hung up on looks, but like I am who I am. I think that I was also so proud of Sierra. I felt this moment of proudness of just being like, she's so cool that she can overlook all of this because he has all of this and it's so worth it. And like a lot of girls wouldn't do that. And I'm so glad she's not one of those girls. And then he just
Yes, and he
looked
proved
a
us
gift
all.
horse in the mouth and like it just I did not see that coming and I hate surprises.
I love surprises, just not ones like that.
No.
Okay, can we talk about the Jesse Lexi date? Which, by the way, I said Lexi's style is basically like a bustier, jean shorts, and
Which
heels.
you loved before. And now when in retrospect,
No, I didn't like it.
no, I know, but I think I have a like that you if you were just saying how much you did not like her style.
Yeah.
Which in retrospect was great style in comparison to the deep plunge tuxedo tank top and that weird interview upside down halter that looks like it should be in a deck of cards on the Queen of Hearts.
She just she does not have good taste.
But did you see she got a new
No, but
job?
like it got so much like
It got worse.
Like bustiers and jeans and heels, like it's not inspiring, but it's
like
not keeping you up at night.
It is. That look, I think, is terrible.
Compared to what we saw this week.
This week, when she was on the date with him in those jean shorts with the little kitten heels and the bustier,
She wasn't in a bustier. She was in a tuxedo top, like you remember when like not tuxedo, but like where the frill comes out of like a V-neck and then it's got like extra.
Oh, I don't know why I'm remembering it as still like a
on the where they went to the
bowling?
like
Never mind.
She
That
had
was
that little orange
never mind.
thing.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of when she's at. I think she's just maybe. Well, they go meet somewhere, and she's wearing
the
a
Diplo
tuxedo.
when
Kyle's
Kyle's
which
at
is
his
also
Diplo party.
awful.
But yeah, but so much worse than just bustiers. Like bustiers are like they've been around for a jillion years. Like
It's all so bad.
It's all too
It's
bad,
all so
okay.
bad, Nat.
just don't make it get worse. Like just know that it will get worse.
Okay.
So
But she got a new job. Wasn't she a model last time?
Yeah.
Yeah, not anymore.
What is it?
Now she's investor relations. Congratulations, Lexi.
Wait a minute. On the show?
Yeah, where else?
I just should know. Maybe on her Instagram profile?
I don't follow Lexi on
investor
Instagram.
relations, invest.
No way.
Okay.
Really?
Where does this? It said that like
On her
Like
Chiron?
her new job is Lexi, investor relations on the date. She
Okay.
had a new job.
I feel like that must be a mistake.
I don't know about that. Wow, that seems
Well, no, because in this episode, again, she talks about being a model,
not
not an investor relations.
She's a model investor relations.
She
person.
is doing everything. She's doing the most.
Yeah, she's good for her.
Can we talk, though, about their conversation at this date? I left feeling it was like a junk food conversation. Like I ate stuff, but I wasn't satisfied.
No, he's trash. Like in regard to what she's looking for, he's an accident waiting to happen. But he's like showing her all of that, and she came out of the gates well, like saying this is what I expect. What she was saying to him is what I would say as well, and have said, and always stick to that. And I don't know if she's gonna stick to what she said. And
But it seems like he's also seen like, oh, that's tough pill to swallow, and that's a lot, and I don't know. And then he's like retelling the stories, and he's like, yeah, I'm not sure. But it does always end with him kind of being like, okay.
yeah,
And someone saying, Jesse, you've changed. Like they edited out the part where he's like, yeah, no, but normally I'll be like, I don't know, but fuck it, I'm down. She's doing something. Like they're cutting out all those parts, right? And just leaving the, yeah, I don't know.
But I want to learn or
yeah,
whatever.
but then there's always a follow-up that's like, but I'm willing to change. I'm willing to learn. She means a lot. I will, whatever. It's.
I wonder if it's one of those things where he just, when like a dude is in bed with the chick and he just really wants to sleep with her and she's like, but I can only, it's paradise by the dashboard light.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you just got to say you love me and say you're going to be with me forever. And he just finally says it because he wants to sleep with her. And I just wonder if Jesse's pulling a paradise by the dashboard light moment. Do you know what I'm saying?
I don't.
I don't know.
Yes,
I'm wondering.
what my question would be: is it intentional? There's some people that set out to do that, and I am not sure where he's at.
I think he wants to do it, but he isn't going to be able to like get it across the finish line.
Yeah.
So when she's saying all this stuff and his face the entire time is just like a deer in headlights, and then she's waiting for him to say something. He's like, "Okay, kiddo, well you just slow down because I'm a little behind you, but I'll get there." I think he wants to get there, but it's not his natural inclination, and I do believe he's going to mess it up.
He did write that. Well, I don't know if he wrote it, but he did pick that song. If he didn't write it, have you like listened to the words of that song that that he's going to release?
Mm-mm.
It's like, if you let me slide sometimes, I know I can make you feel good how you like. And when you need to dip out and slip back to your life, just keep me in your back pocket. And it says something like, we can fall in love for a moment.
Real banger. Real lyrical genius.
Oh, but let me tell you, I cannot stop humming it and singing it.
Yeah,
I love it. I
catchy.
think it's catchy.
Same. I think
For
it's super
sure.
catchy.
But he says like, when he just says like, because we can fall in love for a moment. And like that to him is the mecca of his life. Like that's how, like when you love to have 20 million of those moments, you know, like, and I think that he sees such the value of like the time spent, and it's just like a different, this is the problem with men and women, like, is that it doesn't always have to be a bad intention. It is like, no, but that moment is so good. And the girl's like, but how about we just like
build
keep
a
that
life.
moment and build something around that moment. He's like, I mean, I guess you could.
Or I could go have another moment with this other girl who
Yeah.
seems pretty great too.
Yeah. Like, I feel like we're witnessing, like, you know, when you first start dating someone, that's like one of those things where you like go in hard and fast and you start hooking up immediately and you have like the best time. And it's like really over before it even started because it's just like, we don't even know each other, but like that fire is so hot in the beginning. And then you're like, I feel like we're witnessing like this like few week, the top pinnacle of what will be their story. And like, she's always going to be looking at this and thinking about that great time that they had here. And remember when we had that date and then we went, my parents, and then we went for sushi afterwards. And then like we slept over and like, it was so great. And then we went to breakfast the next morning. I feel like he's looking at this being like, yeah, it's great. It's great. It's great. And she's going to be thinking, and I could be totally wrong. She could not like him. I don't know. But the way she seems wanting to be invested in someone, not wanting to sleep with someone if these things don't happen, I feel like she's going to be stuck on stupid thinking about this, like repeating these 2 to 3 weeks over in her head, being like, but like we were just there. Can we I just want to go back there. Like, can't we just have some more of those? And he was going to be like, we had that. And she's going to be like, right. Like,
yeah.
And it's not going to be because he is an a-hole. It's going to just be because like he just wants to have 75 more of those moments. But
then he has to, if he knows that about himself, see, this is where I think he's not aware of that yet.
I'm out on that. Like, not out. I mean, the jury's out for me on that. Like, we'll see, like, how he handles it, you know?
Totally. I said it last week or the week before when I was like, if you're one of these dudes that goes in that hard, like, you are my future girlfriend, I like maybe wife, you're everything, I'm out DMing you on Instagram to get your phone number when I'm with the guys, I'm FaceTiming you, all that stuff, then you need to know that you are in it to win it and nothing is gonna deter you from being in this relationship. Like, you have to be, because if you screw with a girl like that, it's such a bummer.
Because most girls will not even be straight up about that. They'll be like, no, let's just see how it goes. I'm easy, I'm breezy. And she's straight up saying like, I don't have sex outside of relationships. This is the only sex I'm into is relationship sex. Like, there's just a lot of girls that wouldn't be upfront about that because they're too afraid. And for her to put that all out on the table, he doesn't have a lot of wiggle room now to like.
That's the note I had. Is like, I'm an older feller, and I like when I was in high school and out of high school, my early 20s, whatever, and like not even my early, always I think, we didn't have these conversations. Like, you didn't have them. You either just were awkward or you stopped talking or it just was weird until you broke up, or like nobody was setting boundaries and rules. And like, defining things. Like it just was awkward, or it wasn't. And if it wasn't, cool, you stay together. Like that's how it was. I am obsessed with the fact that I'm gonna be a dick, but like the kids now are like, no, let's talk about this.
Yeah, I
Let's
love
be
it.
mature and have a conversation. Let's set boundaries. Let's express how we feel, what we want out of this. And that way, somebody the hurt is less, right?
Yeah.
It's understood. We all know what we're getting into, and that way, at some point, we're not going to be absolutely devastated because we were too scared to have an uncomfortable conversation.
Or the hurt is worse
that.
because you were both saying the same thing, but one person may have been lying to themselves and they couldn't uphold the
Yeah.
bargain. And you're
Yeah.
like, wait, but you told me you wanted this also. But you still had the conversation, which either way, I think is healthy
Yeah.
because you can't get lied to in those situations.
Keep it up, kids. Well,
Yeah,
sure,
good work.
but getting lied, but without talking, you build up a thing that doesn't exist, and then you build up 72 more things that
No,
don't
I'm a fan of
exist,
the combos.
and it's way worse than getting lied to. Getting lied to sucks. But
Can we talk about the new guy, Imrul, with his sex swing and the 2.5 partners and the...
well, it's not his swing. He
Okay.
went to a party.
He went to a party, a swingers party, and do you, boo, do whatever you want. And this is coming from a very sexual person, okay? Like, I'm not queasy around people talking about this. That was just a lot to digest as like, we're just meeting you. No?
Well,
It turned me off.
I don't
Yeah.
listen. Like, okay, fine, but he did say that he grew up in a Muslim family. That's not really what you do in a Muslim family. But when he grew up, he was like, that was his thing. That is his thing. Like that's what he enjoys. It is who he is, and he rode with it. So like when you meet me, I'm going to tell you about bikes and golf. And that's also probably going to be a little off-putting and turn you off, definitely, because you're not a big fan of golf. But like, you know what I mean? So
Or
it's
biking
like,
for that matter,
yeah, right.
but
Or
it
my
didn't turn-
spandex, or like, so it's like, I get that they're two different things. My point is, that's
Is there a Miss Piggy analogy coming?
no, I'm just saying, like, that's who he is. And the reason that he didn't come last weekend was because he went to this party. They seem to be inquiring about that, West, mostly with all his little terms that he knew, his sex terms and
Yeah.
whatever. I thought that was weird. That
He's like, were you edging the whole time, man?
like,
Or did you...
why are you trying to be impress this dude? Do you want him to edge you in your beehole?
He wants an invite.
What?
He
Oh,
wants an
no, 100%.
invite. Yeah.
You know who wants to get his beehole touched on his motorcycle is Carl. But listen, I want that motorcycle too. That's like the one motorcycle that I'm going to buy one day. So
Good.
Imrul is okay in my book so far. Like I can see how that would be an off-putting conversation. But again, that's where he was at. And it seemed like everybody was interested in that party and what it was like. And
I don't know if they were...
if he came or not.
See that, and now every time he says I didn't come because every time he says the word "come" now, I'm like, shut up. But I know he meant why I didn't come to the house last week. But I'm just like,
I'm sitting here thinking you're saying the CUM, not
yeah.
Sexual.
Yeah.
Oh, I also hate that word.
CUM.
It just is so gross to me because it's such a visual. Whatever we can. I'm probably trying
Pretty
to
sure
cut
you
that
can't
part
say
out.
it on
Robin
YouTube
Weaver on
anyways.
that. Yeah.
So let's not
I
bleep
try
it
to
out
cut it
47
whenever
more
we
times.
say it, but
Anyways, I could see how that'd be off-putting, but like also,
yeah.
that's that dude.
There is something about the way he leads with it because I had the exact same thing as you were, where I was feeling again unresolved about like, am I can you still call yourself a non-judgmental person and open to all sexual proclivities and a forward thinker of do you be happy, find your you, find your happy, whatever, and still be like get like a physical like like when someone starts talking about getting tied up or tying someone up or tying multiple people up or everyone like of strangers and going to parties that are just specifically for the sole purpose of tying people up and then when he walks in, he goes straight in and like gives like a hug and a cheek kiss to both Sierra and Lindsay, and they both were physically jarred by
his energy.
1,000%. Like I
clocked.
clocked that.
Yeah,
like,
sure. But
yeah.
I think he went to Lindsay and was like, "Hey, beautiful," and I think
he
that
did
was
it-
when she was
yeah.
like, "Well, okay,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
pregnant, guys."
Because
She
did they
didn't say that,
just
but
meet? Did they all just meet him at the
Most
Kyle's
of
Gift
them.
Love
Yeah, most of
event?
them.
Yeah, some of them had met before, but most of them
Yeah.
hadn't met.
Yeah.
Nat had said this about she's like, if I were ever on a reality TV show, and I won't be, this is, I believe her exact quote, warmly and accurately quoting her. She's like, I would have business. Like when I was in my first scene where you were seeing me, I wouldn't just be like a slopopotamus on the couch
Yeah.
talking to someone.
Walking
I
out
would
of
be
Shep's room.
right. Like I would be in the kitchen stocking the fridge with beers. I would be on a walk with a friend, whatever. I would just be doing something. I'd
Yeah.
have business. And I that just stuck with me when you said that, because it's so true that when you first meet a character on a reality TV show,
Yeah.
that is how you remember them,
Yeah.
consciously or subconsciously. And I think it's totally fine that this is what he's into. And I fully understood the reasoning behind it, because he said he grew up in a really conservative
Yeah.
household and all that stuff. The math.
That's where the unresolved comes from. Like he's being totally forthcoming with all the information and explaining, like, here's when you lead with it. Shake my hand. Hi, I'm Emerald, real estate and swinging, you know.
Right.
Like first I'm going to go wash my hand.
I think never has this expression been more accurate.
Yeah.
Saying it to Emerald when I say, I want to get to know you. Just kiss me before you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I need him. He can talk about all of it, but if that's the first thing I hear from
Yeah.
you, you are forever the sex swing guy.
Yeah.
Which maybe that's what you want to be known as. I just think you probably have and sex swings look really cool. Hope to try one
Yeah.
day.
But
I
time
just
out.
think you've got
Did-
more interesting things to tell us about you than that.
Yes. And I
When
never
did
want to hear
who-
about real estate, but I would now love to hear about your real estate career if this is what we're the two things we're
The
dealing
options.
with. Sorry. Go
Did
on.
he? When did he lead? When did he lead with it? Like when did he walk into a scene and be like, "Yo, I'm Emerald. I f- 2.5 people yesterday. Who wants to hear about it?"
He led with it when he got to the house.
Did he?
He said they're like, "Oh, you weren't like how
But
are you just
again,
getting
like-
here?" And he's like, "Oh, I was gonna."
I was
and then
tied up last week. Like
I was tied up.
but
Yeah, it was
he-
very immediate.
But like they brought it up. Like
Did they?
Yeah. Like
But
they
he could have been
knew.
like, oh,
Everybody knew.
He didn't have to say what it was.
Yeah, like
But again, he kind of didn't. Like he was like coy about it and like, "Oh, I was tied up." But like, let's say they didn't know, right? Let's say nobody knew where he was last weekend. He was invited. He couldn't make it. Nobody knew why. He had to do, right? Other prior engagement. And the girls are like, "Oh, hey, I heard you were supposed to be here last weekend." And he's like, "Oh yeah, I got tied up." But they didn't know what happened. And they're like, "Oh, cool. Well, glad you made it this weekend. Who's your rich? How your name? What do you do? Real estate."
I don't think
It's
he
a
said it
different.
like that though. I don't.
What?
I think when he said I'm tied, like I don't think that they said
What
you
my
were
point
tied
is,
up.
Saying-
they knew what happened last weekend.
Because
Oh.
he told
So
them.
like, no, because
he
Kyle told them.
Right, because he told Kyle,
Listen.
I can't come because I'm going to a swingers party.
Sure, but like him and Kyle are friends. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like, Kyle knows he's a swinger and into that. What I'm saying is, you guys are making it seem like this guy just shows up and is like, "Anybody want to see my instas from the party I went
See,
to
I think
yesterday?"
he is that person.
I do too.
And maybe he is, but he
Yeah.
didn't. He didn't do it. Like it didn't happen on this episode.
I think so many things about this. Number
didn't,
one,
it
if
didn't.
you book a job, which is summer house, it is a job, okay? Like, you're hired, you're getting paid, you've signed contracts. Either production didn't want him there the first week or two.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Or-
Whoever's got mad about the 14-minute flight conversation, or who production wanted to bring, tune out now. Just fast forward for 14 minutes.
To
Yeah.
which I say, if you didn't like the first 12 minutes on
You're
one topic,
really not gonna
you're
like-
really not going to like the following 90 minutes.
Okay,
of
well,
the
let's
other
make this
topic.
one 10 minutes. Go
No,
ahead.
no, no. So either like that could have happened, or let's just go on the basis that he's telling us the truth, that he couldn't come because he'd
Arrive. He couldn't arrive.
I feel like I'm going to have to. I feel like I'm going to have to bleep that.
Yeah, they're not
Like,
going to know. YouTube's not going to know the difference.
Yeah, they're not going to
Oh my
know
God,
the difference.
forever,
They're
our
going to hear
channel's
the name
doomed.
Emerald and be like, "This is highly searched with."
It's not
Okay,
Emerald.
it's Emerald
That's what I
Imrule.
said.
or Imrule.
Yeah.
I thought you said Emerald.
Oh, yeah. Well, okay. Yeah.
It's not Emerald Lagasse.
It was like his name's
It's
Emerald.
fucking- Bam!
No, let's just say that this is true, that he booked this swingers party months in advance, a real tough one to get a ticket to.
Yeah.
He's got good seats or whatever, good sex swing seats. And he is willing to blow off, which I did do that on purpose, the being on camera and being a part of this show so he could go to a swingers party that he goes to all the time. Like, that's a wild choice.
Yeah.
That tells me everything I need to know about
yeah.
you, that you would rather be having sex with multiple people than be on this TV show meeting all these people. And like, then you've made it known that I was late because I was at the swingers party, and that's what you want to talk about. And then in all of the coming attractions, they're like, so wait, you slept with someone last night? And he goes, yeah. And they said, how many? And he's like, 2, 3, something like that. And in one night, like this is what I'm just saying. This is what he's leading with.
He's a Casanova, as Kyle called him. Like, his whole storyline, he's the guy that's going to come in and bang everybody. So like, yeah, definitely that's his jam.
It grossed me out. That's all.
Right.
I'd actually like the comments to know if Nat and I are on one side. Can we do a poll? Because someone had said that.
Yeah,
Maybe I've never figured it out.
I would love to, because I'm curious, because I was grossed out.
I do a poll on the Spotify episodes every week. And you want to know how fun Spotify is? They send me still, because I'll set it for a 2-week span. It's not even the week. That's the default. I change it to 2 weeks just in case anybody comes late. We're here for you. And it always goes, results are in. Click here. Nothing.
It's a tie.
Why are you sending me that?
Honestly, I know sometimes I'll get that from my review company for my website.
Results are in.
And it's like,
You're an
your
idiot.
weekly reviews. And then it's like donut hole.
Yeah.
Good job.
Okay, so let's do a poll on that if we can.
Yeah. There's something. He came to be whatever he is because there's no. He fully is participating in this, and it just seems. Participation trophy to a new
sorry.
Mind. And I would like to move off of.
Yeah, let's go.
Rule.
Yeah, we've got as far there.
Is Kyle's DJ thing real, or what is it?
I think he would love for it
crisis?
to be
Oh,
real.
Well, of course he would
so
love for it
real.
to be real. But is it midlife crisis, or is he like, no, I'm going to pursue this? Like,
Yeah, I think as many people will take him seriously is how far he will keep riding this train.
I wonder if he's any good. So the Diplo party, it was not a ton of.
She drops the bomb about like calling Sierra over, being like,
Okay.
yeah, my morning started at 9 a.m.
Okay.
I don't even want to be up at 9 a.m. getting rage texts from Kyle.
Yeah.
And he's laying into her because of the Hannah stuff and the Craig stuff.
Yeah. Oh, be careful. Have you had that yet? Is that the first one? Yeah. Dude, a Cord sponsorship. Can we get some smoked Gouda Cheez-Its sent over to
Hey,
DM
Greg-
me for the address?
Greg would send Dave out like every day for more boxes of baby Swiss Cheez-Its. Like they're not everywhere. Like you can't always find them. Dave would be gone for entire days of work, just going to store after store.
I love that.
Those are a close second.
Yeah, these are really good.
Yeah.
Oh, the first ones are white cheddar. Maybe actually those are better. Anyways,
These are better.
so yeah, Kyle's like bummed because Loverboy isn't an Anheuser-Busch yet.
I am so curious. I don't understand what is everyone expected to do with this. See, this is where it comes down to like getting the answer to like who's in charge here. Like, does Kyle have some kind of deal worked out where it's like, is he in charge? Is he the dinner table dictator? Like, because how is it that like Craig is not, Craig is a person on his own show. Why has anybody, and Hannah, the story goes back to Hannah where that Hannah he didn't have her fired, but he probably was like, it's her or me, or like, I don't want to work with her. And like, I put this together. I set this up. I have a Bravo. You know what? When you start a business on Bravo, they take like X percentage of it. I don't know what the percentage
called the
is.
Bethany clause, because she made it so that they didn't get a part of her business. And so people fight for that clause, but I don't think they can get it anymore.
Yeah. So like,
Do you want me to hold that
she's
for you?
before Kyle's time.
No, I do.
So like I'm sure has some deal with Bravo, but it seems like he has taken that deal and inserted it onto everyone else that has ever come into existence with the cast, or dated the cast or been a cast member from season what are the rules here? Is no one allowed to drink anything else but this one drink? Because there was like 90,000 empty Loverboy cans on the
I'm
bar.
sure that they've got, like, I'm sure he wasn't able to get the Bethany clause, right? So
Yeah.
saying that you don't get a stake in my business and I still get to put it on the show. So I'm sure they are getting a rip. And I think that Kyle probably did say something to production. And because Kyle comes with Amanda, it is a twofer there.
Yeah.
So, and also Hannah had a really bad last season.
Yeah.
She
I'm
was
not saying at all
likable.
that like there's like, it was time for Hannah to go after that season. I hope Hannah gets to pop in and stir some shit
I don't
up.
think she would ever come back and do it. But my point is, like, I'm just painting the whole picture where I think it's enough of he's got a little bit of weight here because of his drink. He's got a little bit of weight there because it's him and Amanda, and they were founding fathers of this show. And so I do think that he probably did say something through his manager, like, listen, I don't want to shoot with Hannah anymore. She's toxic. Either Amanda and I are coming back and she's not on the show, or she can be on the show and we're not coming back. Like, that's probably the bargaining chip that he used.
Yeah.
And Hannah called him out on it.
Yeah.
And so I think everything is based in some form of reality with all this stuff
Right.
that Kyle's bitching about. But I think what really bothered me about all of it, besides the fact that I believe that it's fairly true, it drives me crazy when somebody goes after the person adjacent to the person who actually did it to you. Yell at Hannah. You have Hannah's phone number. You could DM her on Instagram. You could shoot her a strongly worded email. Why are you going after Craig and not her boyfriend? By the way, you are friends with her boyfriend. It's such a BS move to me.
The more I thought about it, I was like, we had this conversation once. So you're like, I understand why on every one of these dumb shows this happens, and then the other person like falls right for the trap every time. I'm like, well, they have to, otherwise we don't have a TV
On the
show.
call
It's in the book,
Yeah,
Natalie.
like,
Don't you
totally,
Fall
but,
remember?
like,
into
In the
trap
book.
is scene 7.
Yeah, like you got to argue back, otherwise we don't have anything. And so I think that like the reason that he texts Paige is because Paige is on his show. Like, yeah, he should have dealt with
'Cause he
Hannah and
thinks
Craig,
it's his show.
but like not his show. I mean, like,
No,
But
I
I
think-
do feel
well,
like
sure,
Yes.
but that's not what I meant. I mean, the show he's on. Like, Craig isn't on his show or that Summer House. And Hannah's
Freudian
not on
slip.
this show anymore, right? So if he dealt with it, then it's not a plot point. It's not drama. It's not on the call sheet. Like, you know what I mean? He had to deal with Paige because we all know, like we said, for those of 7 of you who watch our Bachelor stuff, you know what's going to happen or on Southern Charm, you know what's going to happen when you send 4 dudes to a place that has 3 rooms. Craig's going to fucking lose his mind. You right? So like, Kyle knows, like, oh, I'll text Paige because she's going to fucking lose her mind. She's going to be like, why the hell are you texting me? This isn't my fucking problem. And you're going to say something at a dinner party. And that is a whole episode right there.
Oh, so you think he planted it to make the show good?
A 1,000,000,000%. Like, why else would he?
No, see, I think Kyle's
I'm
a
like-
petty
Oh my
little.
God.
That's the thing. I am with everything that you said for any other character on this show. I'd be like, yeah, 100%, have no issue with it. I also am extremely biased against Kyle. If you haven't, welcome. I'm Natalie. I f***ing hate Kyle. I can't stand him. He's the worst. Like, you know how there's some people in life that are just like, not only are they not for you, they're like, why were you even put on this? They're just to make me upset. That's how I feel about every time I see Kyle. And I saw his ass again, and his ass is getting old. It's getting saggy and old. Used to be a different ass. Not that ass anymore. Back that ass out. Anyways, if Kyle weren't such a petulant child with zero self-control to control his little baby bitch whiny ass tantrums, then like I wouldn't even entertain this other thing that it doesn't have anything to do with him doing something for the show. I'm sure that he knows that, oh, this will work out well for the show. But I also think that Kyle doesn't want to do anything that's going to make him look stupid. I think Kyle likes to try to control narratives. And I said this about him last week. I think he goes into every season going, everything's changing this year. He lasts like 2 episodes of like, oh, can I get you something, darling? Oh, I'm going to come home at 2 a.m. And then it all goes to shit. Usually with Paige. So, you know, maybe that falls right into the same kind of
playbook.
thing. But he
Like,
is
they have
just,
a big fight every year.
maybe I'm wanting to just lean in to be like, you did it saying, you dumb dick. Like, Kyle's super competitive. Kyle's been the business owner of the house, and now Craig's kind of like the business owner. And I'm sure that, like, if you're looking at the revenue, and I'm sure Kyle's looking at his revenue and like just getting like amped up. Like, Kyle thinks he owns everything and everyone, and you gotta drink my drink, and you can't take this deal, and you gotta respect, I'm in charge of this house, I'm the dictator of the dinner table, and all the things. He's in charge of everyone, and it never ends. Like, it just never
I
ends.
don't disagree with that, but he's not in charge of Craig, because Kyle can only be in charge of who's on Kyle's show with him.
Unless
Craig
you go through,
isn't.
But Craig comes to my house. This is my house. Craig comes to my house sometimes.
Yeah.
But
I welcomed you into my home. This is work, asshole.
I think they were really close at a time, because I'm on an episode just from last season where Craig is there, and he said, "Oh, I'm so excited to see Kyle." And when they saw each other, they're like, "Oh, bro, what? This is the longest we've gone without seeing each other in a long time. Like, we usually see each other once a week."
Yeah.
Which I only see you now once a week because we do this show together.
Twice a week.
Twice a week.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, that's a lot to see a friend of yours once a week.
No,
So they must have been tight.
They were. And what has happened with all of Craig's friends since he got a little bit of freaking success? Everyone is reacting. It's just dudes being dudes, you know? But Kyle is that extra alpha. Like, he's just got that. Like, he can't like the second they're two neck and neck now, you know? It's like,
Granted, Austin has his thing, but like Kyle's the only other one that has a real business. You know
right?
what I mean?
Yeah. Well, when I say the thing about when he started coming up, it's either it's dudes being dudes, whether it's I'm a business owner and now you're creeping up on me, or I'm used to being above you, or Austin was probably used to him being like, no, we're the two dum dums, you know, and now like, oh, it's just one single dumb now, and like you're like doing stuff. Shep is used to telling him this is how you need to live your life, and now Craig's life has been more successful on the, like, you know, just various fronts, you know, of like frontward facing, public relationship, celebrity girlfriend,
successful business, beautiful
and,
home.
Yeah. You going to Shep's house? You're going to Craig's house?
Craig's all day, every day.
Backyard.
I'm just psyched for them to get into it. One, because
Yeah.
they've showed us the coming attractions, and it looks like she is going to go in.
Oh, as always.
Yep.
And, it's gonna
And
be the
I
best.
want her to, because I just think he deserves it.
Yeah.
Why on God? You have Craig's number. I don't care if you haven't called him in a year. This has nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
I don't handle his social media deals. I didn't take the picture. I didn't schedule the post. I have nothing to do with it. Also, Hannah was on a different podcast. She wasn't even on our shared podcast. She said what she said.
Yeah.
I'm not Hannah. I'm not her manager or her publicist. I didn't guide her or coach her on what to say. Get over it, bro.
Yeah.
You're pissed because our podcast is doing really well, or Craig's company is doing really well. Something is in your craw, and you're
Hannah,
taking
who
it
you
out
hate, is doing so well that you're having to acknowledge that she got a Netflix special that keeps you up at night, Kyle.
Right. And it's just like, for whatever reason, you think I'm the punching bag.
Yeah.
When I said none of it.
Yeah.
It's 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm connected to all of you people, but I didn't do anything. I'm not even an accessory to this crime.
Yeah.
And that drives me crazy.
Oh, totally. And to think, for him to not just like think it was okay to call her and say that, not just like, oh, it's okay. Think that she would welcome that, because he doesn't remember that the last 9 years she has gone in on him and taken him down to his studs, like every time. Because that's the thing about Kyle that is so infuriating, is that he can't even. There's just, like I said, no self-control. He has no memory that this has never gone well for him before. And he just keeps going back because he can't help it. He's a petulant child who just needs to have his, like, get on the ground and just kick and scream on the floor. And she says, I did him a solid where, like, I let him call me one time and vent to me about his wife. I never told her about that. I'm sure that's something that Paige to me seems like a girl that would have some unresolve about that. Like, I'm sure it was nothing ill will.
Of course, because she only wants the best for Amanda.
Yeah.
And she's probably thinking, by doing this, I'm helping Amanda get what she wants and needs.
Exactly. But in that moment, it's like also knowing I never told her about this. And so now I've opened the gates for him to just do this. And now he thinks he can just come at me with whatever he wants. So It's the audacity. It's the no self-awareness, no self-control for me. It's the whole bag with Kyle. It's year after year after year. I like villains. I like people that bring, like, even Lindsay. Like, I don't want her to get carried out. She's pregnant. Leave her. Don't touch the pregnant lady.
No. You know, I always go to like my La La Land of what they should have done, or if like these were healed people or whatever. And I'm not saying that everyone on the show is a mess. I'm just saying this is a very unresolved part of Kyle's personality, and we've been watching it unfold over the course of 9 years. He should have called her and said, "Hey, girl," because we have, because even, oh my God, I'm blanking on her name. Paige said, like, "Oh, I love that I've developed this better relationship with Kyle." She had said that earlier in the episode.
Yeah.
So he could call her up and be like, "Hey, Paige, can I ask you a question? Can we like talk for a second? I know none of these things have anything to do with you. I just like, my feelings were so hurt with the Craig stuff. What do you think?" And I want to talk to him about it, but I want it to be a constructive conversation.
Yeah.
And I also want him still to come and do something with Loverboy when or if he can in the future.
Yeah.
And I want, like, what do you think the best way to approach that is? And then rinse and repeat with Hannah.
You mean
And
like a
Paige-
grown-up 42-year-old married man, business owner, professional conversation?
Yeah.
Like, that would be great.
Boring. Do we know for a fact, because you know it's 2025, we're all about fact checking in America.
Yeah.
If it fits our narrative.
Yeah. Do we know that he didn't hit up Craig 3 or 4 times and Hannah 3 or 4 times, and both of them were like, "F this dude, I'm not emailing back or hitting him back," which I can totally see Hannah doing. Craig maybe not. And then he was finally like, "Dude, Paige, what the fuck? Whether that, like, you know what I mean?"
We don't know that, but even if
You heard it here first.
Okay. But even if that is the case, his text messages to Paige were completely unwarranted, because it wasn't him being like, "Hey, I tried to hit them up and this is super disconcerting and upsetting to me. Could you help me out?" He's like, "Hey, you asshole, your boyfriend who's a scumbag did this," sending screenshots. Like Paige doesn't follow her boyfriend at the time on Instagram and hasn't already seen the post, or like he hasn't already talked to him about it.
Sure.
It's never what you say, it's how you say it. And so even if he did try to reach out to them 7 ways to Sunday, he came at Paige sideways.
But we also
and
don't know
hot.
that before that screenshot are a bunch of messages saying like, "Hey man, I tried to reach out to your boyfriend. I tried to reach out to Hannah. No one's getting back to me. And these things are just popping up on the internet. Like, this is up, da-da-da-da." Whatever. Just throwing it out there.
It was just like, again, I think it was so clear to anybody watching it that like Kyle's having a moment right now dealing with the fact that there's another guy on the competing show that also has his own business, and it's actually going really fast. Were we talking about Loverboy and how like we still don't know where to buy it, and like it still seems like, are you making any money off of this stuff?
I mean, I can't assume he's making any money just because of how much money he spends on Summer House. Like, there's tens of thousands of dollars of product every summer. Like, it's insane.
And how Paige goes on about how like he's never done dick all for any of my ventures or Craig's ventures or Hannah's, but like I have a podcast. He's been making fun of it from day one. He's been calling. Is that how they got the name?
Yes.
Yeah. Which,
He's like, "You're over there with the giggly squad."
Yeah.
I think that's funny.
I think it's great
I think
that they
it's
use
great
that.
too. And like, Kyle can always say like, "I came up with the name," you know, and Paige can always be like, "Well, we did it in spite of you because
No, we turned an insult into a compliment
bajillion
because
dollars." Yeah, and
that's revenge is my paper.
yeah. And she said, "I don't ever talk about and I never hear her talk about the podcast and all the years they've been doing it." And she'll say, she's like, "We had a podcast and like not a lot of people had one. Nobody at Bravo had one."
Yeah.
Like, and I think about that, like, yeah, now everybody and their mother has one. Hello. But like nobody did there, and she never talks about it. And that's crazy because she could have used that to be such a, like, Kyle's using the shit out of this show for his business. Paige has never done that. I couldn't name one time.
She also doesn't talk about Summer House on the podcast.
Yeah, she keeps him totally separate.
Totally.
And then, yeah, Kyle's not only is he not doing things for Craig's business, he's all over it. It's just like bang after bang after bang after bang. Like, get over yourself. Unless it's all for the show. And then, thank you very much, because I am going to enjoy watching you get berated by a 5'2" girl.
Do you think it comes next weekend?
It definitely seems like it does. if there's anybody who watches this show that also watches Southern Charm and watches our recaps of Southern Charm, and you watched last week, you might have noticed it got a little heated, and that there might be a redemption storyline arc happening or not, and that is the argument. I'll tell you who's definitely producing a redemption story arc at Summer House, and it's Carl with all this food. The steaks, the pizzas. Like, this dude's
Those
coming in
steaks,
hot
like,
with...
I'm a
Holy
vegetarian,
shit.
and those
that you're
steaks looked great.
veg, but you had to have been like,
Oh, Lordy. Dude, this guy...
I'm not Emerald, but can I suck on that bone?
Yeah, really.
and even the way he cooked them looked
No, it
just
was
like I've
gorgeous.
been literally
Yeah, he
dreaming
nailed it.
about them ever since I saw him cut it on a plate. Like,
Yeah, Carl the gay chef.
I'm pissed
I
your
love
dad
him.
didn't send us with any of those back home. It's some bullshit. But wait, what were we
we
talking
have an
about?
entire cow from of the Yolo County Fair auction in our.
So delish. When we're at Kyle's Diplo party, and Lindsay is when she has like her little beer belly out, and somebody's like, "So how are we doing? Like, how big is it?" And she's like, "Oh, it's what did she say it was?
Like a mango or something.
A mango?
Cantaloupe or a
No,
mango.
a mango." She's like, "Oh, it's a mango. If your baby is a mango this week, last week you were at the Summer House with a printout of a ultrasound that you had to at least get a few days before that. So we're a week and a half from mango,
Yep.
and your ultrasound is of like a pretty full looking baby with a huge dong."
Well, it's a
That
a girl,
isn't-
so I don't think it has a
that's-
dong.
How do we know
Well,
it's
it's a Doppler radar.
She's had it.
first off.
not an
It's
actual
a-
ultrasound?
hurricane pattern,
It's-
I
right?
think
It's
she stole
Hurricane
that whole
Lindsay.
I think she googled the ultrasound and found the
No,
coolest
that's
one.
definitely her ultrasound. She's
But
too
that's-
narcissistic to use someone else's.
No, but I can't. I don't think a mango has
Okay,
features like that.
How many? It does. It totally does. She's
I don't
4
think
months
so.
pregnant. Even if she's 3 months, 3 weeks, you're pregnant.
4 months.
she's out of
That's
her
That's
first
pretty much
trimester.
halfway, almost halfway.
She said, "I'm out of my first trimester." I'm
Yeah.
like almost 4 months.
The full way is 9.
It's
is
10 months.
No, I know that.
You probably thought 9
No,
Yeah.
I didn't. I know
because
that.
I thought 9 for a long time.
My mom
Maybe
always
just-
got very mad.
Maybe just a year.
She's
Not
like,
knowing
they
that it
say
was
it's
10.
not. It's 9 months, but
I
it's
think-
not. It is 10, and you are so goddamn uncomfortable.
I
it
think
was
she
worth it.
ordered that ultrasound off for imprint.
She did not.
For him.
Okay. Does anyone have anything else? Or are we getting to comments?
Hold on.
Well, are we not gonna? Are
we
we?
talked about. Okay, go ahead.
We talked about everything.
Well,
Well,
We
I
didn't
really
talk
not.
about
One thing that
someone
that
joining
just
the
wanna
house
say
at
that I
the end
didn't-
of the show that none of us want to come back. Christy Sheik's included.
oh, Danielle.
Oh, I have had. I
My
was gonna
notes,
say,
I
right
don't
when
know if you
saw
can see
Danielle,
this.
I was like, Christy is losing her shit
Dude,
right now.
By the
My
way, me
notes
too.
just say all caps. No.
Do you think that her and Carl will ever
Huh?
like?
No.
No, because Carl's gay.
Not unless
Sure,
she.
but like Carl's not coming out right now, and Carl's gonna date girls, and oftentimes people in this situation, the situation being where you're, well, they won't date your sexuality, you just sort of kind of naturally find you go back to places that you already been because it's comfortable. You already know how to maneuver that. They're not asking questions because you've made it this far and they've not asked a question or whatever. And I also feel like she's probably would love to get back, have a reason to be at the house more. Like it might be a mutually beneficial thing for the both of them to like.
Eh,
No, I don't think they will ever hook up again or get back together again. And for whatever reason, even though I know she jumps in the game, she was such, and I'm sure she's a lovely person in real life. In this environment, she was so annoying to me.
Yeah, she got weird. She didn't annoy me for a very long time, and then everyone's got a season where you're like, oh my god, have you always been this way? Because, you know,
I just feel like
oftentimes she was pretty stomachable. It was annoying that Lindsay never had to answer to anything because she always had a rock, you know? So like, she was like an enabler for Lindsay. So that
Totally.
was super obnoxious.
And Lindsay never rode a tenth of
I
as
know.
hard for Danielle as
I
Danielle. And like
know.
that made me feel like this is the energy I get from Danielle. Danielle was maybe not the coolest kid growing up, and now she thinks she has these cool friends, but to keep them, she's got to be this like ride or die
Yeah.
chick, and she lets that override her
Yeah.
actual personality.
Yeah.
Because I think she would be so much more palatable and fun to hang out with if she wasn't just so desperately trying to fit in.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with
And
that.
and just make things into things that they're not. When I was rewatching her relationship with her ex-boyfriend, when he first came to the house, every weekend she was like, "Can we have sex now? Can we have sex now?" And they never were hooking up. He just wanted to go hang out with everybody and cook
Yeah.
dinner. And I'm not saying that they didn't have good times together. Clearly they were together for years and they lived together.
Yeah.
But I just feel like, again, it's the same pattern of, oh, he likes me, so I'll just figure all this other stuff
Yeah.
out. And it's like, no, girl, you're worth more than that.
Debatable.
Yeah.
I'll give her this. That haircut.
Oh yeah, I was like, "Are you trying to hint something?"
Well, you.
Because you said you are really into her haircut,
I don't
and
know
I'm
why
like,
I'm into
"Listen."
that. Like, real. No, I don't want you. I want
You're
you
like,
to be happy.
You said something though that was like, what? You were like, "I'm like obsessed with this hair." Like it was like it had like a.
I wish I could
Whitney.
date someone with a
if I was
haircut
gonna-
like
If
that.
I was gonna like put my dong in a haircut.
If I was gonna be in a sex swing
Yeah.
with
Okay.
Emerald with a
That's
haircut,
not, I guess.
it would
be
be that one.
Danielle's
If I was gonna
haircut.
edge a haircut, it would be
Yeah.
Danielle's. By the way, Danielle has always had the most unbelievable Barbie hair.
Oh yeah.
Always.
When it flashes back, when they're doing the flashback of like their montage of their friendship, like it came to somewhere I was like, that's like Rapunzel hair, man, but like styled good. But
Amazing.
But like she didn't style it. Like it was
Yeah.
it was
She's got great
something
hair.
else. Yeah.
I just want her to totally break free of Lindsay. And I feel like she almost did it. Because
Yeah.
we've all had those friendships where you're friends with the most unbearable human being on
Yeah.
the planet and the universe gives you an out and you got to take it. And so I love how Lindsay's doing her PR spin on everything. And she's like, I just really missed her and it's so good to be back. And then they cut to Danielle and she's like, yeah, the break was really nice.
Yeah.
And it's like, right, because this girl grinds your gears. So stop being friends with her.
Yeah.
If you've never had a friend who was the most annoying person on the planet, does that mean you're the friend that's the most annoying person
Oh,
on the planet?
that's such a good question.
No.
Well, no, because I don't have any of those friends. I'm referring to myself. I might be that guy. Yeah.
Again, the defense's case holds
Mm.
some water.
Well,
You're not around enough for your friends to be annoyed by
I
you.
don't have any friends. I like 2 friends, and I don't really call Timmy enough. All my friends I see at work, except Timmy. Hi, Timmy.
Timmy, like and subscribe.
Tell a
Timmy liked
friend.
and subscribe. Timmy was
thanks.
our 4th subscriber.
Okay. I love that Jesse is telling us, via the girls in the house about meeting the parents and all the things.
Yes.
I'm into that because it's a show and I want to be told everything. And I think we all know what happens when you don't tell me something. I just
Lose it.
yeah, basically what
Make
my
it
brain will
up.
come up with is way worse than what it actually is.
So just tell
You
us,
should probably just
shepherd.
always be forthcoming. Yeah. With that respect, love it. In the real world, I would be super pissed at what he did. Just saying all those things about like where he's at with her and like she told me this and now I guess I'm in a relationship and I'm like free. I don't know how this happened and I met the parents and whatever. Like for Lexi to walk in the house after this and basically every girl in the house, like, listen, I think that they know Jesse well and know the fuckboy mentality well enough to like, they're probably not looking at Lexi any type of way. But if I'm Lexi and I'm watching this back and being like, you told everyone that like you didn't really want to be in a relationship or you weren't ready. And then I made you meet my parents. And like, I would think that every girl was like, God, what they were probably all looking at me like a pathetic loser. Like
Probably, but I didn't get that vibe. Like
I
I
didn't
get
either.
again, like I think Jesse's like having these moments where he's like, I don't know what's happening either. I'm and I just met this girl a week ago, and I was driving out there, and I'm on the way thinking, how did I get here? Like, it's not, what am I doing? Why am I going to meet it's just like, how did this happen?
It's more in a
like,
discovery sense. It's not mean-spirited,
and
or
it's
that's how I
almost-
took it.
Yeah, it's almost like
I agree. I do agree.
like,
But if you did that, if I was coming to meet you at like a cabin with a bunch of your friends and like we were newly dating, and then I found out later that you had told everyone, like, I don't even know how this happened, really, like, really had any kind of conversation that, like, I also just think that things should be super private between two people. Like, I understand telling your friends, and again, you're on a show, so this is what the show is. This is what dreams are made of for me.
Yeah.
But I just, in real life, I would not be pleased at all. I might leave if I found out
Yeah.
that like there was a conversation. I would just be
You would
mortified.
definitely leave,
I would be
yeah.
embarrassed.
I wouldn't.
And like,
Yeah, I don't think.
I just wouldn't
But
appreciate
I
that.
think that this is also what I was saying before. This was one of those scenes, or the scene, when they were like, "You've changed, Jesse." Like, so I think there's a bunch of that conversation cut out. That is the catalyst to Sierra, whoever said it, saying, "You've changed, Jesse," because he is saying like, "I just met this girl, and now I'm on the way to her parents. I can't believe it, and I'm not ready for that." Da, da, da. But clearly he's ending it with like,
Yeah.
"But it's working, and I love it, and I can't believe it, and I don't know why." And that's bringing on someone to be like, "You've changed, Jesse, because you used to be a fuckboy, and now you're obsessed with this girl and meeting her parents." You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think there's something there. I also liked, you just can tell a lot about somebody with the little things they do. And when he did go meet her parents and went in for a kiss and kissed her on the cheek because her dad was sitting right there, and
the
her
dad
mom
was like laser beaming.
totally
Yes.
laser beam. But then he was like, "Do you want the full thing?" And like we didn't get a reply. But I
Yeah.
thought it was cute that
Yeah.
he didn't just like go in.
And he showed up with flowers.
He did show up with flowers. The first time, I think it was the first time Natalie met my mom, I do a thing called booty squinches for now Natalie. It's just a little booty squinch. But the
You
first
have to like
time,
pay the toll to like walk by.
dude, it's like that meme where the lady's like, there's something wrong in your relationship when you walk by your husband and he doesn't grab your ass. Like, then there's something wrong.
Though I guess that's probably true.
Yeah.
It's the
Honestly, I
same
feel
with-
like my parents still do it, and they've been happily married for over 50 years.
Thank
so.
you. So I did it on my mom meeting Natalie meeting my mom for the first time. I think I just did it like just natural, and she was not happy.
Inappropriate.
And my mom was
meet
behind
your mother
that.
with your hand on my ass.
Listen,
Thank
I
you.
get it. But I did, and she was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And my mom was like, I thought it was cute.
I want to just give a PSA to any dude watching this, like the three. But like, if I truly believe this, and I'm going to say this to you, and you're gonna be like, I've actually never done that. I'm not mad about it. I think that if your mother-in-law or your girlfriend's mother, you only see them every so often, even like we live 2 hours, about hour 40 minutes, 2 hours from my mom, so we don't see her that often. Which is weird. 'Cause it's not that far, but it is. It's just far enough to be annoying. But I believe that you should show up. You stop by fucking Ralph's, grab a $12 thing of roses, bring the flowers to the mom every time.
What if you're flying in? Get flowers.
I'm sure if there's an airport and they've got like if she's picking you up in the airport,
I was just gonna say, I get
you've
the
got a
airport
great
pickup.
excuse. But yeah, if you are walking in and like as a dude, I'm not saying ladies need to do this.
Okay. Oh yeah.
No,
Okay, I like
men,
this rule. Then.
I think that moms love getting flowers from young men.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
I love getting flowers from
Oh,
young
I
men.
do.
I
I
think
mean,
Natalie
and
does
he
as well.
won't barely
Mike
get 'em
loves
from
getting
me.
flowers from young men.
Sometimes.
And I don't even care about big fancy arrangements like from Mark's Garden. I just want, like I said,
The grocery store
12, 13
flowers.
grocery store roses. The white ones or the red ones. I'll strip all the things off, put them in a tall vase. It's pretty simple around here. It sounds simple, right?
It is
Yeah.
simple, and it's like, listen, dudes are dumb. You guys been saying this forever. It's not wrong.
No, dudes
The
are
thing I
lazy
don't
and decide they're just not
remember,
going to do stuff that you tell them that you want more than
Yeah,
anything.
but I do other stuff. I can never remember if you like the the grocery store roses or the grocery store bouquets.
No,
She just said roses.
bro, I've literally.
She said it for
said
15
you
years,
would
Courtney.
be. If I,
That's why I said I can never remember.
one day there's going to be
well,
like
but
an
now we
AI
can, and you could
montage that I
call
can just
me.
run at the time
Yeah.
and be like, ChatGPT, so I have like a chip in my brain, and I'll be like, "Can you bring back all the times that I've asked for just red or white roses from Ralph's or Pavilions?"
ChatGPT has crashed.
You broke the robot again.
Too much information.
All right. I think everybody's clicked out of this episode.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
I do have one. I think that you're right about Kyle and Amanda, and I'm just gonna leave that there. We're not gonna go into it. We can go into it when it happens next season. But
What?
I
What
think
do you mean? Okay, what do you mean we're not going to go into it? Like, how did you come?
I think
to
you're right,
that?
but we're never talking about it again.
no. We can talk about it when and if it happens. But like last week, I think you said it, or the week before, and I
think
was
they're
like,
headed to
"There's no
Splitsville."
fucking way, buddy." But I think we were both kind of like, "No way." And now I'm like, maybe, because I did forget about last year when he was like, "Oh, you want to do that? Well, I want to be a D." Like he was pretty much. They were both like, "Fuck you, I'm out of here."
Yeah.
And then it seems like it happens again at the gender reveal. Also, I thought we were done with gender reveals.
Can we be done with gender
Are we
reveals?
not? Yeah.
We have a whole other video on
Yeah.
that. I'm not here for them. Yeah,
Can we please get to some of my favorite comments
Please.
this week? Okay. I feel like this guy has a great joke for Southern Charm too, but
Oh my
this,
God.
this is for Summer House. Johnny Smiles says, "Wes looks like a great value brand Robin Williams."
Don't you remember I said he looked like Robin Williams 2 episodes ago?
No.
It didn't make the cut.
Well, you didn't say it like this. You didn't put the Walmart store brand in front of
Yeah.
it.
I saw that comment and I was like, but yes, love it. By the way, while Nat's finding this, last summer, the girls asked each other if you had to hook up with West or Jesse, who would you hook up with? And they asked the question that we did. You can't hear either one of them talk.
West or Jesse?
Yeah.
That's not fair.
No, you asked us this question. We were talking
No,
about
it
this.
was West and Austin. West and Jesse. That's Jesse all day.
Ever since the song, especially.
But like,
Well, I mean, never Wes. But Jesse.
Never
I
West.
never liked Jesse.
That's funny.
What?
Like,
I'm a
what
never
is it?
Wester.
Yeah, you're a never Wester.
Not to get political, but
Dude.
and that's the only direction
Might
she
be-
knows
that
because
could
it's
be
by the
our
ocean.
never
Sad
West.
for Nat.
I'm staying far away from the West Side. Chrissy Chic says the whole Sierra crime biz is freaking awkward. As an adult, you can have an F buddy, and if she gets drunk, she might want to do that with West. It could happen. It could happen. Chrissy's going to tell you. Chrissy's been around the block. It could happen.
happen.
Okay, she's lived a life. I do like that he didn't want to have a loud convo in front of the house. Don't agree. I don't think it was for her benefit.
Same.
I think it was for him to save as much face as he possibly could because he knows he's not very good at the talking.
Unless you're a journalist. From
Yeah,
the New York
unless you're a
Times.
journalist and it's done in the dead of night. Sierra and Paige remind me of the snapping eels from The Little Mermaid.
Oh, that was funny.
That was the line that I'm like, yep, I'm reading this one because that is. I love them so much,
Me
but a
too.
lot of people do think that they're mean girls. And so I just thought this was a funny way to be like, I can get on board with this.
But they're so nice to any other girl that comes in the house.
I think that they are too. From what I see, they are. And also the way that Lindsay treated Paige, I don't think Paige will ever treat people that way because
Yeah.
she's been in those shoes and been totally uncomfortable and felt like by herself, like while Lindsay was.
So by definition, they can't be mean girls. I think what sometimes people misconstrue that for is, no, they're strong women who are going to speak up for themselves and they push back against the dudes. And
But
that's
they
what
also have
calling
really
them.
cutting tongue. Like they're
Yeah.
very like they're like you don't ever. I would never want to cross Paige in my whole life. She'd be the last person that I would want to say something that I didn't have like 9 books of things backed up and like memorized, like because she wouldn't need to know anything about the situation and she would again take me to the studs. When she says the thing about Kyle's lucky I don't buy and sell his stupid company, I was like, this is the greatest moment of my life.
Yeah.
Like it was the perfect teaser for like what's to come. And because that's the kind of like, whoa, did she, because it literally had me going, can she do that? Like it made me think for a minute, like
How rich
how
is Paige?
much money has Paige made from this podcast and all of her brand deals and like
A lot. I
Yeah,
think.
yeah, it made me like. There's a certain type of person that says that.
or it's a certain kind of person that you say that to
Mhm,
because
That's certain.
you've kept it to yourself for this long. I know they don't make dick all at that company. I'm friends with his wife. I'm making things up now. I have no idea what the revenue is of this company, but I don't think Paige says much of anything without there being like, she just doesn't dig herself in holes.
Yeah.
Ever.
I'm not saying she's digging herself in a hole, and I'm not saying that she couldn't afford to buy that company that has product in 12 stores on the East Coast. Like
Yeah.
it just it's just like a fucking douchey thing to say, you know? Like there's a certain type of person that says things like that, like degrades people to that extent, no matter how bad they are.
Okay.
That is like it's a little gross.
Oh, I know that person that you're talking about, and I still am not sure she has done anything to like.
I've
I
never
think that
seen
she's
her act that way. I've never seen her say anything like
right.
that.
Which
means she might be getting a little too big for her breeches.
Or it could mean she's built
She's
a
fed
reputation
up.
of trust, and he has taken it this far. He has pushed her this far for her to. What is it when the cuffs are coming? Or the what's are
The
coming
gloves
off?
are off.
The gloves are off. The cuffs? I don't know. Take these cuffs off.
Easy,
I need to hit you.
easy M rule.
That would make sense. Gross.
What?
One other thing that Chrissy says. So, I agree that Lindsay is much more likable when she is single. Because no one needs to get yelled at for not making her a sandwich.
Thank you, Christy. God, I always feel so seen by Christy. I really do.
I
Not to
know.
play
Oh my God.
faves. I
Totally.
love her.
But I also feel like Christy enlightens me on things like I wouldn't have thought of.
Yeah, it's the perfect combination of like
Yeah.
sugar and spice.
Yeah. Truth for peace for freedom
Dude, I was gonna
says,
read that
call me
one.
old
This
fashioned,
is
but
so funny.
when a straight dude gives another straight dude a blowy, there's something gay going on in there.
She's not wrong.
Yeah, I hope that we all just take that in as common sense at this point.
I'm just going. This doesn't have to go in, but it's just I'm going through it and it's something super fucking funny. So the comment is your best friend,
Who?
Glitter Army, but like
Glitter! Inappropriate!
I don't know.
Wait, what'd
Have
she
you
say?
been keeping track of her the last couple like?
No, it wasn't good for my mental health. Glitter, I have 2 other jobs, so don't threaten me. Okay.
Oh, Nettie doesn't. I didn't even see this. Nettie says, "What? Carl is gay?"
I think she's being facetious.
Oh, she's being fun.
I think she's talking about my opening, like idiot. You
Sorry.
didn't- Yeah, I told Nettie is my AI. Like I think Nettie is like if I was typing into ChatGPT for like, hey ChatGPT, this is how I feel, but can you put it in a better way?
Zhuzh it.
Yeah, zhuzh it up. Nettie is on the other end, being like, why don't you try this, idiot?
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Try this. Heather Lee says, "Does Bailey remind anyone else of Aubrey Plaza?" Well, now she does.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I never thought
100%.
of it until then.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Also, I like this episode. I was into Bailey, and I was like going with the 2 dudes that you put on last time. What are the 2 guys that were like saying she's too young? She's like, "You want me to these old people? What are those
Oh,
guys?"
that's Watch What Crappens.
Watch
I don't
What
know if
Crappens,
anybody
yeah.
watches that or listens to it, but
Oh my
it
God,
is
so funny.
one of the greatest shows.
Second greatest.
They
That is
like
true.
act out the whole show, and it's brilliant.
It's so funny.
Hilarious. They do
have to watch
voices. They give characters. They have the whole backstory for Patricia's butler.
That's great.
It's
Yeah.
great. If you need something to listen to when you're on the road, whatever, like it's
Yeah,
brilliant.
they're funny. But I was like, oh man, it's a bummer because Bailey's just she's funny and cool, but she's just too young for this crew. You
Yeah.
know, she's just like, it's not my fault. I'm 25 or whatever.
Oh, yeah. KRSLP, you hit Lindsay on the head. Bulldozer with horse blinders.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, I got Lindsay's number.
Well, time to eat.
No, time to like and subscribe in Southern House, as you like to say.
Southern House.
Okay, that's it. That's all we got. Please don't go anywhere.
Or-
Well, you can go
Ever.
somewhere. Just bring your phone with you
Or maybe, yeah, well.
or your iPad. however
Yeah,
you
whatever.
put
consume
your
the content.
put the hit the bell so you get an alert. If you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for?
Yeah.
Is the bell still
What
a
you
thing?
waiting for?
Yeah. And if you are waiting for something specific, I'd love to know it. I'll do it.
I'll do it too.
Next to anything.
Dude, do you know how people are going to be like, show me your.
Okay.
The older you get, the more
Well,
you're like,
I've been
please,
asking
will
you
somebody
that
ask
for
me
so-
to show them my
Hello, every day.
You don't count.
Yeah.
No one ever shows me that.
Is everyone that's watching
Huh.
Summer House watching Southern Charm? And what other Bravo shows are you watching? If you have anything to sound off, the comments don't. Oh, we love every comment, but you can also just offer up.
Oh, like, hey, would love to see you do the recap on.
Yeah, but
Fill
if
the
you say
blank.
Below Deck, I'm just going to pretend I didn't see it because
Oh, I love Below
I can't
Deck.
get into it. I can't
Love
get
it.
into it.
No, too much. All right.
Yeah.
Thanks. See you next time.
Bye.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye. I need a couple 5 minutes. Not a couple of five, just like